You can't be anti-racist and still committed to your comfort. This video is dedicated to Rachel Cargle, the Black woman whose TED Talk inspired me to write this video. I am committed to being anti-racist and uncomfortable, starting again today, and starting again tomorrow, and starting again every day the rest of my life. Hi. I was a white supremacist. Or part of me still is, I guess. The parts that aren't yet educated on what white supremacy is. I'm trying to undo it every day in every fiber of my being, but why am I, or was I, a white supremacist? Well, I was born white, to white parents. I didn't get told about white privilege. I didn't get taught about the ways that I got a step ahead. Actually, I usually was told most of my life that I was oppressed. I also spent most of my life not actively searching out different voices. I spent most of my life not doing much to learn because I had a feeling that if I learned, I would have to change. I mean, it doesn't affect me, so why should I do something? And you might tell me in response to this in the comments, how could you be a white supremacist? You literally didn't do anything to anybody. Exactly. I was born white in a white supremacist system. And for over 20 years, I didn't do anything. And I didn't undo anything. I didn't actively learn. I looked away. White supremacy is looking away. And I'm not looking away anymore. I'm not staying quiet anymore. One of my friends told me this week, I wouldn't want to be around a person who is not considerate around racial tensions. But at the same time, I also wouldn't want to be around a person who forms their identity around those tensions. Because I always just want to move forward and focus on action and real improvements. And it's hard sometimes to say in solution mindset, but it's necessary for growth, even if ancestral pain lingers. But that's the interplay of the ego and the self. We're all one, and we all have unconscious biases. So right now, when the people who can't speak up are being violated and abused when they do speak up, it's my turn. It's your turn to be in solution mindset. Especially if you look like me, it's your job to speak up. Start telling white supremacists exactly what they are, even if the first person you are telling is in your mirror. Abolition is about presence, not absence. It's about building life-affirming institutions. Ruth Wilson Gilmore. So I'm not going to give you a list of what not to do, because you can't build a community on a list of things to avoid. You'll just end up sitting there. So instead, I'm giving you a list of things to fill your time with instead. To force the change to come through action, not by thinking about it hard enough that somehow your brain changes. That's not possible. You can't think your way into changing your brain neural pathways. You can only act your way into changing. So, here are some actions to defeat the white supremacist inside yourself. But first, in the name of resistance, we're going to listen to a sponsorship from my friend Mem, who has been sponsored here on this channel many times. Here at Curious Little Frog, we do not give paid ad spots at this moment. Right now, we are purposefully choosing people who need to be seen and need to be uplifted, and we are giving them a place to share their voice. And this is what Mem has to say. we're grateful for a third sponsoring. Tumultuous as our life is, as visibly Black, yet invisibly disabled people, visibility is powerful. Enough that people think it's all it takes to meet goals. It's much more like finding a piece of hay in a stack of needles. I have been stalked for never not relying on crowdfunding, as if we had any choices. Our survival is being thwarted because I still need food, still need a home, and the things I didn't have when we started crowdfunding in 2021, like furnitures, hobbies, and treats, because we do allow ourselves these things even when rent is due. After so much abuse, I'm not willing to sacrifice our psychological needs just to meet rent, a goal people assume is the end-all of my life. Fascists have my life documented because of our audacity to live rather than exist. And my visibility keeps us in their eyes, right where they first found us. Our longtime advocates of years also found us there. This is how it is to live by limited options. All that to say, I know what it is that scares people into bystanding, especially long term. You earn yourself a reputation the same way I have, by committing to be against white supremacy. And if you struggle to be committed or build thick skin and be terrifyingly visible, think of us, who've lived this since birth and are still surviving it. In togetherness, there is less exposure and more in number, turning the tide of visibility. I truly believe there's nothing to fear. Our water recently shut off, and though it's been paid, I'm going to need to recover from the adrenaline of nearly losing our house. Our other utilities are about to go too. Gas is $1,273 to start a pay plan on the 22nd, and $422 by the 14th for power. That'll keep us housed and lease intact for longer. However, if you can only afford to help us with a meal, or can offer to crowdfund for us using your following on social media, then you're still going to need our pay links, and those are all listed on screen now with Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, as well as the Linktree for home and food wish lists, and the Ko-fi for tips and donations. So all of those can also be found in the description. Thank you, Mem, for being vulnerable with us in the ways that you need help. It is so brave and powerful to allow us to use your voice, and thank you for giving me something powerful to say. I'm really, really proud of you, and I hope that everyone who hears Mem's voice can go and give even $1 can change Mem's day today, and if everyone who watched this gave $1, it would change Mem's life. So thank you so much for hearing us. So back to our list. Number 1, do not listen to white creators about it. Truly, I do not know what I'm talking about. Yet, at least. But there are people who do, and who make it so easy to understand. Here are some clips of my favorite creators that I want you to hear.
As someone here in America, there's a good chance, especially for those with white skin and white privilege that comes with it, there's a possibility that your lineage was part of the white slave-owning families here in the US. But there's also the chance that they weren't. Perhaps you're just a white person. Existing in this country that was literally built on the foundation of racism. One in which Black bodies were considered just 3/5 of a citizen, a country that made entire laws where Black people couldn't swim in the same pools, couldn't drink from the same fountains, couldn't buy property in the same neighborhoods as their white counterparts. A country whose scientists even went so far as to conclude that Black bodies simply didn't feel pain in the same ways that whites did to justify the poor treatment of the bodies of Black women, men, and children in the medical and judicial fields. I highly encourage you to Google Dr. Sims. All of these realities of what it means to be embodied in Black skin has quite a lot to do what it means for you to be embodied in white skin. The work I do as an academic, writer, lecturer, and activist is centered at looking at the intersection of my Blackness and my womanhood. Two things that I certainly didn't choose, but they're two things that affect how I maneuver through the world every day. My social media audience of over 200,000 consists mostly of white women who I bring into conversation about their role in white supremacy. It's been a continuous conversation for some time now, exploring the pill that white women have to swallow, that they indeed hold a position as both part of the oppressed as far as their gender, but also part of the oppressor as part of their race. I often get messages of angst from my white audience. They say to me, "But I didn't own slaves. Why do I have to be held accountable for the complications of race today?" I hear this question, and what I do is try to hold up a mirror that can reflect both of our positions in a 21st century aftermath of the horrors of centuries of a slave trade that came before both of us. And I explain, yes, and I wasn't a slave, but daily I'm existing under the effects of what the white community did to Black people that it brought over here. What they did to set up a system in which white skin holds privileges and Black skin holds consequences. And then I continue, until Black people no longer have to deal with the consequences of what our ancestors had to go through, I will continue calling for accountability to white people who are still resting in the benefits of a racist system that was set up for them.
So ever since I've made that video about how a lot of countries do not let disabled people immigrate there, there's been a lot of comments like, why does the world hate us? Why does the world hate us? And I need people in the West, particularly Americans, to have a fucking reality check. Okay? Globally, across the world, you live in one of two types of countries. You either live in a country that has dedicated its entire existence to eugenics and the modeling of the perfect citizen and the perfect human being. Those are mostly the countries of the West, which is why they responded to the pandemic exactly the way they did. Or you live in a country whose resources have been stolen, siphoned through imperialism and colonialism, and often do not have the financial resources to take care of the most vulnerable, but often still do what they can. In the end, there's no place for disabled people to live or exist. And that's why the systems, regardless of where you are, where you're from, look the way that they do.
I'm here at the doorway into leaving white supremacy. Because unfortunately, you may have needed someone who looks like me to tell you and to leave with you. There's power in community. There's power in vulnerability. I'm just telling you what I learned from people who have also left the ideals of supremacy, specifically white supremacy, and most of them are Black women. So listen to Black women about white supremacy and patriarchy. Listen to immigrant women about white supremacy and patriarchy. Listen to queer, trans, disabled people of color about white supremacy and patriarchy and ableist supremacy, because they actually live it. I'm just telling you what I already learned from them. I'm just a mirror. They are the real deal. Here are some books that I read and I highly recommend reading. To start, there's probably more. If you have some in the comments, please list them so I can read them and so others in this community can get book recommendations. But other than that, I can just talk to you from my own experience and what I am working on so far to try to change. I have a long way to go, so don't stop with these, please. This is a stepping stool for who you need to be tomorrow, and these recommendations are just for today. The rest of the work is up to you, so please do not give up. So what I've learned is to notice. Don't be colorblind, like your parents may have taught you, and choose not to see color or disability or the things that make us different. Start to notice if you actually listen to different voices, to non-white voices, the global majority of voices. If you're choosing to listen to, read, be around, follow on social media only white people, well, you might be a white supremacist. Start to actively seek out voices that require resistance in you to hear them and to not click away from. Change requires resistance, and resistance requires uncomfortability. So yeah, change is uncomfortable, and so is resistance. But daily resistance leads to change. Falling in line like a good soldier to your white man boss is not resisting. Resisting is asking why someone thinks that joke is funny. Resisting is asking why someone would say that about another person. Resisting is asking yourself why you do that thing, why you laugh at that, why you take that action, why you think that thought as soon as you see someone else being different than you. I'm the curious little frog. My start has always been in curious little love, and then I hope that it blooms as I go. But wherever it feels safe and comfy to you, go the other way for a little while and see what feels resistant and what feels easy. Ask yourself why things feel uncomfortable. Ask yourself about your own patterns. I'm sure you'll see them in no time. And if you can't, ask someone you trust what your patterns are. Especially if they are an autistic or hyper-empathetic person, they will notice things about you that you could never notice about yourself. It will be uncomfortable and require resistance. Resisting defending yourself. Resisting defending your fears. Resisting defending your whiteness or your family system or any other privilege you have. Resist defending yourself and your perspective and listen. Because then you might actually be inspired to change. And change is how we all get better at loving each other. So thank you for listening. Please take the time to watch the TED Talk by Rachel after this, if you didn't watch it before this video. She says everything I could never say, and I made this video honestly just so more people would go watch that old YouTube of the TED Talk that she made. I'm also uplifting my friend Mem in this, of course, so if you want to see the rest of Mem's links, as well as the links to my print club and shop, please click there. My script originally ended there, and it didn't include this, but now that they have happened this week, I really cannot ignore them. So, in the past week, a group of activists who heard Palestinians' pleas for help attempted to peacefully sail with aid in international waters. This is not the first time that aid has been attempted to breach the siege in Gaza and has been stopped. But this one particularly got media because it was carrying many well-known activists, including Greta Thunberg. They were chemically assaulted, kidnapped, and the aid never reached Palestine. While this was happening, in LA, American people started kidnapping other American people, using the same tactics that have been used against the Palestinian people, and they've been warning us about. Because of fear-mongering and strife against each other as humans, the people on each side of these protests are being used by wealthy people to create violence and dehumanization within each other. If you are a person on the side of fear, scarcity, and dehumanization of others, I invite you to open your heart to love. Now is the day to open your heart. You are more than this. You are more than this. You deserve love, and everyone around you deserves love.
Hello, my friend of Brena. Your support of escaped from the north sector, please.
This is my friend Omar. He is learning English to speak to you, my friends, and he is asking for help here to escape North Gaza and for food and medicine for his family now. His grandmother needs medication. They are all starving and need food desperately. Please hear him. He is speaking your language. Please do not let my friend starve. Please, the situation is very dire. Thank you very much. Omar's links are also in the description. Thank you. If you donated to Mem and Omar and you still have money left over, I would also love your support. I don't want you to choose me first. If you only have a little, please give it to Mem and Omar. But if you have a lot, I would love support. I'm a disabled creator trying to support my family and my friends. If you want, you can join my print club and get a beautiful print and sometimes a bonus sticker for $18 a month. It helps me to make these videos and it helps me to uplift others. Please click my links last. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Please go listen to Rachel's TED Talk now. It is incredibly powerful and educational, and if you are still here, that means you desperately care about this, and so please go watch that next. Thank you. Goodbye. I'm proud of you. I love you.